Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Sachin Gupta, and I'm co-founder of Whitehole Hub, the healthcare innovation hub for startups. We are based out of Singapore. I'm also founder of Salus Healthcare Resources, India's largest executive search firm in healthcare sector. With me today, we have Ms. Chandra Ganjoo, who heads HR at one of India's largest medical device company, Trivitron. Today, we'll be speaking on a very interesting topic, which is human capital management in healthcare. This topic is pretty close to my heart because I personally believe that it is human capital, which creates the actual impact. Uh, it is people who make difference, rather than technology and infrastructure, especially more so in healthcare. Uh, you know, People make the difference rather than the kind of machines. For example, in hospitals we see you may be having best of the technology or infrastructure, but if you don't have good doctors, then you won't have good clinical outcomes. I believe same is true for allied healthcare sectors like medical device and pharma, and Miss Chandra will elaborate more on that. So welcome, Miss Chandra,
Hey,
uh,
thank you.
to
Thanks a
this.
lot, Doctor, for this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. So before we start the conversation, I'd like you to talk about scale of operations of your company, and tell us how many people are there, and which all geographies you work. Yeah.
Great. Trivitron is an Indian multinational healthcare company, and we are in manufacturing of medical devices, consumables, and medical reagents. We are operating from India, we are operating from Europe, we are operating from US. We have huge operations in Southeast Asia. So basically, we call ourselves as an Indian multinational company, because we are globally present all over. And the total employee strength as of today in the company is around 1500 plus. Then we have
Amazing.
extended, like we have partners in some of the places where we work with licensing agents, somewhere we work with our distributorship channels. So we have a huge network, some directly working with us, some indirectly working with us.
Amazing. So if we talk about Indian MNCs, there are very few companies which are homegrown in India, and then they have branched out to countries like US or other geographies that you talked about. So interesting. So how long you have been with Trivitron? I understand Trivit. So have you been with Trivitron throughout the entire journey? And
It's
so
been a long
tell.
journey for me.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a long story, and I don't think we have that much of time to get in the story. But yes, I have
Okay.
been with Trivitron for the last 22 years now.
Okay.
And the company is 23 years old. So I think I missed that
Okay.
initial 1 year of the inception of the
Okay.
company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you from healthcare previously?
I know after my post graduation in international marketing, I actually joined an Australian company based in Delhi, and they were into something else, not a healthcare company.
Okay.
And
So how did healthcare occur to you, and what made you stick to healthcare for last 22 years?
yeah, actually, I worked with that Australian company for 7 months, and I don't know, doctor, if you remember, 21 years back, there used to be all these recruitment alerts in newspapers. If a company has to hire,
Yeah.
they used to
Yeah. Yeah.
post the ads in the paper. And one fine day I
Yes.
saw an ad in Hindustan Times. I still remember it, and it was an Indian healthcare company. They were looking for some people in Delhi, and as
Right.
as a fresher, I was almost a 6 months fresher that time. I applied. There was a written test followed by an interview, and I got an offer. And I
Mm-hmm.
still remember that the salary offered to me was less than what I was earning at that point of time. But what really was interesting with the offer was that I was being given an internship in one of their group medical colleges, which means that there was a lot to learn, and they wanted me to learn the basics of human, biology and how different equipments and instruments were being used in diagnosis and treatments. So it was very interesting for me because that was a space where you can learn from experts. And later on, when I joined Trivitron, I was on and off hospitals, and I had direct access with, for live surgeries, live health talks, live symposiums, live conferences. It was a huge, huge learning, and it's been 22 years in healthcare now. and I think the same learning continues till now. Yeah.
Okay. 22 years is a long time, So I started my MBBS in year 98, so it is close to that.
Yeah.
So what made you, I mean, myself being a doctor, we have, healthcare is our focus area. So what did you find so special about healthcare that you kind of stayed for such a long time?
See, frankly, for me, one definitely was that, like I told you, there was a lot of learning on the job. And as a fresher, that's what you're looking for all the time.
Hmm.
And secondly, I think 22 years back, healthcare was at a very primitive stage in India,
Right,
if I
right,
talk about that way. And I saw a huge scope of growth in it. Even today, if you see, medical
right,
devices sector in India is 70 to 80% import driven. No, so
right.
imagine at that point of time for an Indian company how it would have been. So that visualization of being in a growing industry was very fascinating for me. And I still believe that it was a good decision because if you see, healthcare sector is one of the fastest growing sector as of today in India.
It is.
And I personally believe that this is the golden era of Indian healthcare, and I think there's a very good space to be in.
Right. Yeah, great. So, what are some of the challenges that you faced, since you came from a different industry and healthcare being very unique? So, can you share some of those challenges and how did you overcome for the benefit of
Frankly, I
our
didn't
viewer?
face any challenges because I joined 6 months after my MBA, So for me, this was a starting of my career, sort of. So whatever I have learned in healthcare. So,
Okay,
yeah, I didn't see any challenges because frankly, I don't know anything else except healthcare. That is what I had
okay,
done for the entire life, professional
okay.
life, yeah.
Right, right. So how do you? I mean, you were telling about the scale of operation and they are spread across so many continents. So how do you attract talent to Trivitron? What are some of the strategies that you are using to attract talent and retain talent, and how do you manage um, cultural issues and diversity and all those things at your company?
Yeah. See, I think all of us know that managing talent is not an easy job, and I take it very basic. I explain it in a very basic language, even if you're in a family, right? You have four different family members, you have to manage them differently, you can't have one yardstick and you can't manage them. So,
Yeah.
managing talent is difficult and it's different for every organization. If you come to healthcare, I don't see it as a different industry in the sense of management of talent because at the end of the day, people are same. People have same emotions. People have same expectations. So managing talent in healthcare is equally difficult or easy as you manage it in any other industry. And organizational culture, if you ask me, it's a very invisible thing, but a very powerful force that influences the behavior of the people. You can manage culture in an organization, I think, only when you yourself believe in that culture. And for me personally, I don't have two definitions of culture, one for my personal use and one for my work. For me, culture is very basic, respect for each other, helping each other to grow, transparency in whatever I do, support people emotionally who are weak or financially you are if somebody is weak. And I think since it's inbuilt in me, I find it very easy and very convenient to transfer it to others. And fortunately, I have a fantastic team, who follows the same pattern. So cultural management in the company is a very individualistic approach for all of us in the company, and I think fortunately we are doing it well because, like I told you, when I remember the company, we were 30 people in the company. So from 30 to 1500 plus is a huge, a jump, and we have a very diverse workforce and diversity in every sense from the part of people being in Americas, you have to manage them a little differently from the people who are based in Europe or in India. So we need to have different, thought process when managing people with diversified, thought processes. Yeah.
All right. Great. So, one of the things, we are just emerging out of COVID-19 pandemic that has changed how things were being operated prior to COVID, and now uh, we have divided the entire time zone into pre-COVID era and post-COVID era, and You are one of those who actually saw this transition and actually faced, some of the challenges first. And so, how did technological imbibation, especially in HR functions, happened in your company? And other than technological imbibation, or what kind of changes you brought to kind of bear with the pandemic?
Yeah, I think, Doctor, despite the disastrous economic impact what COVID has, brought along with it, it also served, I think, as a catalyst for innovative business ideas. I think every company came up with new ideas because everybody has to sustain, and depending on the industry what you are in, I mean, you will see huge shift in the ways things were managed earlier and things are being managed now. So, like I told you, in Trivitron, we are into manufacturing of medical devices, medical consumables, reagents, and uh, overall, if you see Indian medical device market, it stood at around 10.3 billion USD in 2020, and it's supposed to reach 50 billion in 2025. Keeping those figures in consideration, however, even in this kind of situation, India, like I told you, is overall 80% import dependency on medical devices. And I think that was the first learning for us as an organization during this COVID time, that reducing import dependency on medical instruments. And that's why you may have seen that a lot of Indian companies, along with Trivitron, have started manufacturing of medical equipments, during this
Yeah.
COVID time, which were earlier being imported. And so it's true for equipments as well as the raw material. So I think regionalization of production was one of the main initiative for us as an organization, because we had no choice. It was do or die. So these were some new initiatives and some new things what we had to immediately get into. And I think all along, since we are a healthcare industry, and all our people have been working last 18 months 24 by 7, because we come into that essential services,
Right.
which were supposed to be working 24 by 7 in the last so many months. And we realized that the sacrifice of family in letting their family members move out for work. So as an organization, we took a lot of initiatives for families in terms of health programs, financial help, sponsorship for education, some joint initiatives with employees focusing on environmental issues or mental health issues. So overall, the working conditions and working culture, I think in companies, all of the companies have improved and changed for better. And I think for that, we need to say at least thanks to COVID, because a lot of innovation in the way what we have been managing our businesses, our people, it has changed. It has really improved. And for us as an organization, we are into manufacturing of equipments like what you call as ventilators, which were very essential during this COVID time. And in the last 18 months, it was also a surprise for us that we were able to start three new manufacturing units in India, and we were able to hire more than 200 plus employees. We were able to supply 7 crore plus COVID test kits to various health institutes in India and outside India. So I think overall it has been a very busy time for us. And this also made me believe in that old proverb that necessity is the mother of invention. When you are in
Right.
trouble and when you are in difficult situations, you find your way. Yeah, that
Right.
as a
Right.
company has kept us going.
Right. No, so in fact, COVID has acted as a catalyst for innovation, as you rightly said,
Exactly, yeah.
and
And it
everybody
has happened in
innovated.
all the
So,
industries. You
of
name it
course,
and you will see it.
of course, across the industries, but more so in healthcare. The reason being, healthcare was the focus of COVID. When the governments and entire private industry was looking only at healthcare sector. So one and interestingly, Chandra, you brought out a point that medical instruments or medical devices in India, they are majority of them they are imported, uh, and uh, the treatment. I believe the cost of treatment cannot go down. It is substantially high if we look at it, until unless we do indigenous manufacturing of devices, not only manufacturing but research also. And I believe lot of Trivitron is investing a lot in
Yeah,
R&D.
I
So if you
think,
can.
Doctor, it has been happening in the past, I think at least 1 decade, I have seen it happening. But
Mm-hmm.
last 2 years have been a complete transformation for all of us.
Right.
Even a small company to a bigger company, they have got into the research and try to see wherever they can help the humanity as well as the government. So I think last 2 years has really seen a lot of new research happening in this field in medical technology, basically, if you ask me. So yeah, India has a long way to go, but I think we need to give a little credit to ourselves. We are on the right track. We are doing a good job that way.
Right. I think there was some
Yeah.
disconnection at my end. Yeah. So, but I got what you're saying. Uh, so going forward, what will be your advice for uh, future, people leader or CPOs in healthcare? How they should, what should be the strategy for attracting leadership talent in this industry?
I think as leaders or as managers or as HR managers or general, if you are managing people, you are a manager, right? So there are so many aspects of your management or of your leadership which we need to manage. But if I had to give that one mantra for leaders of tomorrow, I think for today as well as for yesterday, I think it will be same. I don't want to change it. I
Right.
think that the resilience and your persistence is very essential. You don't have to be a superhero, but I think you have to actively maintain your resilience because you are being watched and you are being followed. And I
Right.
also believe that you need to have a vision. You need to have a very clear vision with a very clear purpose. And that vision needs to be communicated to your team so that there is a complete alignment. And I think if you are able to do that, success is definitely going to be there.
Right. Right. So, Chandra, you also talked about rapid changes happening during COVID. So can you talk about change management and how did you manage the entire transition, especially during pandemic, and what are the learnings for other HR leaders that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think overall learnings, I'm sure maybe a little bit here and there, but overall we all learned it. Some common lessons for all of us that one is the most important. Nothing can replace human beings, right? Nothing can replace your human connection with your people. And I think that was the reason why, if you see, even with remote working, where most of the people were working from home, the connectivity and the connection with your teams were there and the companies could progress in whatever ways they were doing it. So as HR managers, I think no matter how much technology we bring in the system, we bring in the HR function, no matter how much AI driven our systems and softwares are, we don't need to lose our human connection with our people because that is the key. And it's because of that human to human connection, we have seen people traveling during COVID, whether we are talking about lab services or we are talking about technology driven medical companies, where people were on the roads. I can give you so many examples of my own people during that April peak, which was the peak of COVID 2020. I remember so many of the engineers, when there was no transport, there were no hotels open. They were traveling in their own personal cars for days and days together, sleeping in their own cars and taking food from home and managing it. It all happened not because that there was some technology driving it. It was just because of the human connection with the organization, with the vision of the organization, with the goals and delivery of the organization. So, what important messages for everybody is that we need to treat people as people. We need to treat them more on human level. And rest of the things are definitely yes. We need to evolve. We need to evolve on technological terms. We need to be very digital. We have seen all these virtual transactions and transformations happening on. This will happen as humans. We are evolving. Everything else will evolve. But somewhere in the past few years, we have seen the disconnect of taking humans and taking teams along and moving along. I think that's very essential. At least for me, I see it that way. If you are a people person, you can conquer Everest. That is what I personally believe.
Yeah. No, so one very interesting thing you said, I appreciate, that your entire team was fully aligned with, goals, vision, and objectives of the company. So how did you build that culture? at Trivitron that people are so aligned that rather than going home, they are just focusing on work and uh, working for for the objectives of company. So how did you build that culture?
I think, doctor, there is nothing better than being an example. If you see the organization what we have built, like I told you, from 30 to 300 to 900 to something, numbers can increase, but the core of the organization remains same, right? The core of the philosophy of the company remains same what it was 23 years back. We are here to provide affordable medical technology and medical services to people in India, outside India, wherever there is a need. When I'm saying affordable, that is what I meant when you also discussed about, make in India, because
Yeah.
being import driven and something with what you manufacture in house, there is definitely a cost involved over there. So I think that philosophy to be discussing with people that okay, whatever we are doing, it's for people. There's a cause. So that cause is very important to express with your people. If they believe in your story, if they believe in the goals and vision of the company, I think they're automatically in for all the purposes. And I think in company in Trivitron, we are a very transparent organization. I can openly and confidently tell you what I know about this company. Everybody else in my team knows about it. That's the kind of openness and the transparency what we have in whatever we do, and I think that's percolating down to even the junior most person in the company. And there's a very close, cohesive teamwork, and it happens on day basis. We don't need to have special occasions to discuss all things. I think it has automatically become the culture of the company that sharing of information, sharing of what I know, you need to know, helping each other to grow is really taking us step forward.
Right. Okay, so I'm just going bit away from this. Since Trivitron is an Indian MNC, and then you have uh, overseas divisions, and you must be having CEOs who are working or handling America division or Europe division. So how does their perspective change, or how as a organization you see them in terms of they view a company, I mean, being a CEO of Indian company in that market. So what is difference between handling Indian CXOs and CXOs those are in US or other
If you would
countries?
have asked me this question 20 years back, I would have, been very, very, sort of confused, because there was a time when joining an Indian company was not that easy, to get good talent, and was very difficult. Frankly speaking, I have seen it. There was a time when there was a little struggle to convince people that okay, guys, this is a company, this is what we want to do you want to work with me, but there were some challenges. But right now, if you ask me, I see a Trivitron at par with any multinational. You can name it, and I don't see any difference that way, because there is no disparity on the way we compensate people, we train people, we take care of people, we guide them, we give them independence, we give them responsibility. So that gap of working for a multinational and an Indian company has almost diminished. It may be a little bit here, but it's almost diminished, which is a very good change for us as Indian multinational companies, because I have not seen it. Actually, frankly speaking, in the last 10 years, I have a CEO based in US, I have a CEO based in Europe, in South Africa. I have not seen that there non-clarity about the rules, because there is a clear guidance given to everybody. This is company, how we want to work. Everybody knows it. So
Okay.
today, I'm happy to share with you that there is no difference actually of in working for a multinational or for an Indian company if you take good care of your people and you
Right.
support them to grow. At the end of the day, everybody wants to grow personally and professionally. If you help them to do that, I think that's what everybody wants.
Okay, great. So what are some of the incentive programs that you have put in place for senior leaders at Trivitron, which kind of motivate them to stay long in your company?
I have a huge list. I think I should have got my book with me because every now and then, when I and my team meet, we are always looking for something for our people. We have so many clubs in the organization, some for very senior management. We have something like Chairman's Club for very senior management people. We have something for young Turks who are very fresh and new in the company, the freshers. We have for fast growth. We have so many clubs, so many programs. We have a complete 24 months running L&D program in the organization, all based on a software. So there are programs which are sometimes very individualistic, where we see that somebody needs individual attention, and there are group workshops, there are group learning programs. So I think we are trying to make sure that each and every person has some learning on day basis, and it helps them to, and depending on what function you are, if you are in such a particular, let's say in a finance function, the trainings are given accordingly. If you're in sales and marketing, the format of training change. So I think we are keeping our employees completely engaged, completely updated with the new things coming in their particular portfolio. Yeah.
Right. And and we were talking earlier about innovation, and COVID has actually put innovation in the focus. So, what are some of the key strategies that you as a leader are using to foster or cultivate innovation from the bottom of pyramid? Are there some programs in place, or some sort of incentive model in place to nurture innovation from the base level employees your company?
Yeah, like I told you, we have a program by the name of Young Turks, where the complete, clarity is given to the young means people who are in the organization from 1 to 2 years. They are very new to the organization. They come with a new thought process. So they have new ideas. That's what we always want to have, that new blood in the in the organization. So there is a platform where they come up with their ideas. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's their ideas which they implement. Sometimes it is our problematic areas which we discuss with them and ask them to come for a solution. And they get a solution and they implement it for us. And there are so many other things like this happening, from the CEO of the company to the junior most person of the company. Depending on what your capability is, what your skill is, what all you can manage, I think there is innovation in everything what we do in the organization. Otherwise, I think if you are not innovative, it can be very simple, basic, from serving the tea to you. Every day, if I get a tea and cup, cup and a saucer, and so you will be also bored. So I need to think it differently. So innovation has to be something from very basic of serving something to you to something very high tech, like we are getting into now. High technology products like mammographies and CT scans. If I go back to 22 years, Trivitron was more of a trading company, where we were just importing few of the medical equipments in the country and doing sales marketing. As of today, 100% of our products are own manufactured, starting from basic of pulse oximeter to ventilators to mammographies to X-rays to CT arms. So 22 years, I think it has all been innovation for us, starting from a very simple thing to a very high tech and complicated thinking. So I think innovation is somewhere built in the company. That is the core of the company.
Right, great. So we have talked, more about what you have been doing at Trivitron, but beyond that, if you have to share one mantra with change leaders for tomorrow, what be that mantra?
I think, especially after COVID, we all realized that our key focus and the most important thing for us is our health. So, I think one mantra, only if you're giving me choice of one mantra, it will be, please do take care of your health. If your health is fine, if you're healthy, and when I'm saying health, it's physical as well as mental health. If you are healthy, I mean, you can take care of yourself, you can take care of your families, friends, your ecosystem, society overall. So health is playing a very important role. I think we all realize that. And also with that, I think the financial independence, you need to be very careful with your money. You need to be careful in earning money, and you need to be careful in saving money, because that is what at least COVID has taught all of us.
Right, right. Yeah. So if you were to recommend a book for interest of our viewers, is there a book which you like to recommend? One book.
Doctor, I need to be very candid with you. I am not a very book reading person. I am
Okay.
more of, you tell me, I can go through video. I'm more of a virtual person, you know. And for
Okay.
me,
So
yeah, for me, book
got
reading
it.
is more of when I had to go to sleep, you know. I take a book and I sleep.
Okay.
I doze
Okay.
off, yeah. But
Okay.
I'm
So
more
you
of
are
a virtual
more,
person.
you like more of audio visual
Exactly. I
listening
like more of
interaction.
audio visual. I like to interact
Yeah.
with people, learn
No,
from
so in
them.
fact, interesting point because today we are living in an area where there is lot of influence of social media and various kind of AV modes are being used to communicate to people. So anything and healthcare is an industry which is not that media savvy, especially when it comes to social media. And do you think social media and AV medium should be used more and more often to uh, s- share a message on healthcare with people? What is your
Definitely.
thought?
Yeah, definitely. I think media overall, social media as well as the media, play a very, very important role in healthcare. See, which for some strange reason they have been shying away. You know,
Yeah,
even in healthcare, if you see, you have different segments. Whether we call it services, we call it manufacturing, we call it digital e-commerce. You know, so from if you go from B to C kind of a business in healthcare, I think media is very important. It's basically a marketing tool for them. But for industries like ours, you know, which is majorly B2B, I think media can play a very, very important role in creating awareness about new technologies and new inventions to general public. Just to
yeah,
expand a little bit more, like in Trivitron, we are in newborn screening. You know, we manufacture newborn screening instruments as well as reagents. Newborn screening is basically screening of newborns in the
I
first few
know.
days of
Yeah,
their lives, you know, to detect
yeah,
that inborn errors of metabolism or certain disorders. Just imagine such a great technology we have, but I'm not sure how many percentage of people in India know about it, you know. So what
right.
I'm trying to say that media can play a very important role for this.
Yes,
If, healthcare industry, I think it needs support from all stakeholders, including media. They can play a
right,
great
right,
role, especially now when the general public is aware, you know. Awareness
right,
is there, but a lot of push has to happen.
right. Yeah, I believe we can use platforms like Voice of Healthcare
Exactly,
to
yeah. Exactly, yeah.
take these messages to healthcare leaders as
Because
well
there
as
are technologies, there are
yeah,
possibilities.
yeah,
If we don't take it to the right people, I mean, there is all a waste.
right, right, great. So any final words for viewers of Voice of Healthcare's today's conversation?
Yeah,
Any
like I
final
told you, I
message?
know only healthcare, so I think the
Okay,
only message maybe what I had to give to two set of people. One is for the freshers who are just to start their careers. I mean, healthcare is something which is which is on a fast track growth mode. So I think you should all try to see whatever options are there, whatever you are fitting in, whatever skill sets are there, try to get into that. One, definitely is a good paymaster. Secondly, it's a growing industry. And thirdly, you will somehow, directly, indirectly, you are going to serve humanity, you know, and it's a good cause to be associated with.
right. Great. So thank you, Chandra. So today's discussion was very fruitful, and looking forward to more such interactions in near
Sure,
future.
doctor. It was a pleasure talking
And
to you.
yeah, same here. And thank you team of Voice Healthcare for bringing this interesting topic for today's discussion. And thanks to all the viewers who have joined. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.